So I think there's a lot of lightweight testing you can do, and I always recommend trying to find a way to test something with very little investment of your time and your money. I wrote an article, I think I said, how to launch and test a business in 30 days with $30, and it was like $30. That there are so many great tools online now where you can put together an early concept, interview some people, like you can have a hypothesis about something that needs to be created to solve a problem.
I'm Larry Cornett, and this is Invincible Solopreneurs.
So yeah, this Substack live
Hi, everybody.
stream.
Hi. Just joined.
Anna and I co-host the Solopreneur podcast, and so it's really about helping people figure out how to transition from a 9-to-5 job to doing their own thing, and then also working with people who are already doing it, small business owners. And Anna has a ton of expertise in marketing, content marketing, podcasting, productivity, getting the most out of yourself as a business owner and a leader and an executive, helping them optimize their team. She does all kinds of cool stuff. And she's been a solopreneur for her whole life, really. I mean, ever since we were
15 years.
Yeah.
Over. Ever since I was a tadpole.
She's older than 16, I swear. I say her whole life, you're like 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much my whole life. I mean, I've been selling eggs on the side of the street since I was like 9. So I don't know. Convincing people to buy eggs for me.
I mowed lawns. I sold Kool-Aid. I did farm work. Yeah.
You sold Kool-Aid?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I had a lemonade stand, a Kool-Aid stand. Yeah. Kool-Aid's got a high profit
I cut grass. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's so cheap. Yeah. Yeah, I'd make all kinds of money, so I could then go to the movies and buy a bike, and yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, exciting. So Anna and I are living proof. So we've this week on my podcast, I talked about solopreneurship not meaning that you're 100% solo. It's like it doesn't mean you have to sit in a dark room, although I often do sit in a dark room.
You are in a dark room.
I've got some lighting. There's a little lighting going on there. Let me put something in the chat. Hi all. But over the years, even my very first business that I had, which was a design agency, it was a solopreneur design agency. I partnered with other designers. I partnered with engineers. I wasn't always working solo. But all it meant, and the thing I brought up in the podcast, is it doesn't change my business structure. So my business structure is a solo founder, one employee, one owner. And partnering with people didn't mean I was like, oh boy, I better change my business structure and make this formal. It's like, what a mess. It's like, it's not like that. You just loosely, with an agreement, if you want a legal agreement, you work together, you collaborate on projects or whatever it might be. You can hire people. I know Anna's hired people. I've hired people to provide different types of services that you need. All it means is I don't want employees, because I've had that and it's a nightmare. On both sides, it's not fun for the employees either, as the income of the business goes up and down, and you're like, hey guys, it's going to be a tight month. I'm not going to pay you. No one wants that. But as an owner, you're like, I guess I'm not getting paid this month. And just the headaches that come with partnerships that are the business structure. Because if someone says, oh, I want to leave, now you have to have a lawyer involved to separate the assets of the business, and mess. So I love solopreneurship, so that I can partner with people like Anna. Like, we've worked together on other podcasts too, Brave New Workforce.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
This one during the pandemic. And we give each other advice, and she's been super helpful for me, and I've worked with her, and we've had other people like Triple Dell that we've worked with on the Brave New Workforce. So you don't have to be alone if you're a solopreneur. It means you get to choose who you work with, and it's very flexible.
Yeah. Partnership is very much like a marriage. And if you're not good at marriage, you're probably not good in partnership. So, This is our first live, so bear with us as we work out the little kinks, technical kinks here. But as Larry was mentioning in the beginning, we are talking about solopreneurship and how to transition from kind of like 9 to 5 workload and thinking to a more solopreneurship where you can enjoy the lifestyle that you're creating and more with intentionality. You can set your own hours. With that comes a lot of responsibility slash no responsibility because you have to really, really manage it well if you're not careful. You have to learn how to say no to a lot of things. And hi, Chris. And that can be very difficult if you are a chronic people pleaser. I think the biggest transition I see solopreneurs struggling with is getting out of, hourly pricing thinking, like, oh, I make, $30 an hour, I make $20 an hour, and go back to kind of like value-based thinking, retainer thinking, not thinking necessarily about your time in just a hour in, hour out kind of format, but in quality of work results and final product produce. And you can make much more money thinking that way than just an hourly format. So I think that's the biggest thing I see a lot of people struggle with solopreneurship in the very beginning, especially if you've been in corporate for 20 years. It's very easy to think, oh, if I do 2 hours of this, it's like it equates to $100 of my time or $80 of my time. When you're doing a business, that's absolutely different thinking because some of that's going to go to your production costs, some of that's going to go to your subscription apps, some of that there's just other up costs to being an entrepreneur. So it's I don't know if it's easier or harder. I think it's just different. And like everything about entrepreneurship is different. So Larry was talking about picking the right partner, in the beginning, there's not going to be a lot of people. I think it's a very lonely journey in the beginning because there's not a lot of people that you can necessarily know who you can depend on or rely on. Perhaps you have industry knowledge, but that doesn't necessarily make them good business partners. I mean, anybody who's gone into business with their childhood friend will tell you it's not
Yeah.
good a good time, even though they know them as somebody who we assume with lots of integrity will do what they say they do, yada yada yada. That doesn't always equate to good business sense. There's a lot of brilliant people. A lot of my friends are brilliant, but they don't know how to do business.
hmm
Um, or they themselves, want to run a business, but they just don't have, I guess, the systems or productivity in place to deliver on those things, right? So there's
Yeah.
lots of ups and downs to solopreneurship. We've got a couple of people in here today, so if you have any questions, feel free to send it in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer it. But meanwhile, I guess Larry and I will be in more of a Solopreneurship 101, what do you need to know in order for you to kind of get going without getting stuck? I think the biggest thing perhaps is I think there's like three but there's probably more than three phases, but for now as a beginner, I think there's three phases to solopreneurship. It's one, finding out if the product that you are selling is actually something people want to buy. Two, it's finding more of those types of people that want to buy those things. And then three, it's scaling it so that it becomes more and more profitable for you and your clients. So I think in phase one, Larry, do you want to take it away on how do we verify if our product that we want to sell is actually something people want to buy?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of early kind of lightweight testing you can do. And I always recommend trying to find a way to test something with very little uh, investment of your time and your money. I wrote an article, I think I said, how to launch and test a business in 30 days with $30. And it was like $30. That there are so many great tools online now where you can put together an early concept, interview some people. Like you can have a hypothesis about something that needs to be created to solve a problem. So you should always be thinking about a problem. Could be a problem you're having, friends are having. something that you've seen in your industry, whatever it might be, and you're like, I think this is a problem that people would pay for to have this problem solved, whether it's a product or a service. You can put together a quick landing page for no money at all. Like put up a website with one page and say, have you suffered with this? Are you struggling with this? Do you wish you could do this? And I'm building something, or I'm going to offer something that solves that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. If you're interested and you want to learn more and you want to help me try it out, sign up for the mailing list and that's it. That's your very first test of, do I have something that's of interest? If no one signs up, something's wrong, right? You're not reaching the right people. You're not using the right message. You're not talking about pain. You're kind of talking about a painkiller, or not a painkiller. You're talking about a vitamin. And so people are like, I don't know if I'd pay for that. So keep working on that message. Make sure you're promoting it on LinkedIn, on your social media, wherever you need to get enough eyeballs on it, because it does take a lot of people at the top of the funnel to convert. It's about, usually people see like 5% conversion. It's kind of normal, which is really low, but it's real because people are very busy. So you're going to have to put this offer in front of a lot of people to even find out if anyone's interested at all. And then you could do a lightweight test. I've done this, Anna's done this, where you're doing a bit of a beta test. You could either do it for free, or you could offer it at a very low cost and say, hey, I want to try this with 5 people. So 5 people want to sign up, try this. We're going to see if it works. I want to get your feedback. I want to improve it. And literally you can ask those people, like, what would this be worth to you? What would you pay for this product? What would you pay for this service? And that'll teach you a lot in terms of what people are saying, but also look at the competitive landscape. And then you can take it to that next step. Like, you've validated it. People want it. The most important signal, people are paying for it. And now you can scale it and say, okay, now I'm going to open it up to more people. I know what the pricing is going to be. And you can launch it to a larger audience and then start to build your business. But that's kind of the very first step. And you could do that for very little money. Most of the time, zero now. Substack's a great
Yeah.
example. Zero. It
Just
costs nothing to
to
have a
piggyback
Substack.
on that, having more money doesn't necessarily mean you'll be able to solve the problem faster. I think the perfect example of this is like WeWork. WeWork filed for bankruptcy a few years ago, and the consensus that I was reading about was basically they had a lot of venture capital funding into their business without actually doing the proper baby step test that Larry was talking about. So the problems that they were trying to solve for, they exponentially tried to put in more money than what the problem called for, and eventually ran out of money trying to
Yeah.
solve a problem that they were just pooling money and resources into, when they could have just done baby tests. And it's almost like if they had less resources, I wonder
Yeah.
if they wouldn't have bankruptcy issues, because they had to be more smart with it instead of just throwing money at the wall, tackling it without actually, doing those baby tests. And so if you have lack of resources right now, consider that actually a kind of a benefit, because then you can be a lot more smarter with the resources you're using. You can be a lot more savvy with the data that you're collecting, and you can actually end up growing faster because you have the right foundation and the right data in the beginning, despite not having the financial resources to back that data just yet. So it's a toss up, but not necessarily having more money will be the solution to your problems. Throwing in lots of ad spend or market research or whatever it might be is can actually just be more detrimental to the entrepreneurial journey than if you had $100 to work with and you just want to try it out for that. And if you can't do it on $100, then maybe you can do it with your free for time, and that's how you kind of grow the business and build those foundational blocks to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Webvan is the poster child for this. I think it's the first time people said, there's a problem with Web 2.0. So if you look at the history, look up Webvan. They built out this multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, like all these hubs and places in different cities before they understood the full demand, and went bankrupt. I mean, they failed because they scaled too quickly. So I think the key is make sure you've got the demand. Make sure you're not overspending and kind of investing stuff that you're not ready to spend before you determine the model. So there's a profitability model you have to figure out. especially as a solopreneur. I mean, you don't have the luxury of a tech startup that raised $100 million. You got all this money that you could burn through. This is you making a living. So you got to make sure that it's profitable, that the money you're spending, you're making more money back. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pay rent or buy groceries. So it's super important. I mean, one of the easiest things I always tell people is my first business is take your current job description and turn that into a business model. So somebody clearly is paying you. They're giving you money to do what you do. So how can you take that skill set and what you're doing and the service you're providing, whatever that might be, and offer it in the open market? And that's exactly what I did. I was a designer at a startup. I'd been a designer at Apple, and they paid me, obviously, to be a designer. I started my own design agency at one, and I offered my services directly, mostly at the time, to startups that were just beginning to start their business. They had engineers, maybe they had some business people. They didn't have any designers, and they said, wow, we could use some help improving the interface of this thing. And so they would hire me to be their design consultant, and that was my revenue model. And surprisingly, like in the first year of that business, I was making more money as a design consultant than I had been as an employee, which was kind of cool. But I knew it was something people would pay for because I had a salary before that. So the trick then is the stuff you have to learn that like Anna's so good at. You have to learn how to market yourself. You have to learn how to do sales. You have to learn how to do partnerships, which is what I was talking about this week. I had a design partner who also had her own design agency. And so she knew a lot of people in the industry. She had more years of experience than I did. She knew a lot of people, and she would reach out and say, hey, do you need some help with this? We have a couple of people on staff, two of us. We can help you with this design. We can get this ready so that you can go and pitch it to investors, or we can get it ready for your big launch that's coming up. And so by partnering with her, I was able to kind of double our marketing efforts and bring in more sales. And it's pretty quickly we had more business than we could handle. And we started referring business to other designers, or we started hiring contractors, which we did. So it's pretty cool. Partnership can do that for you. It's really fun to partner with somebody else that's running their own business too. But we both kept our independent businesses. We did not merge our businesses. She's still running her design agency. She's been doing it for almost, 30 years. A long time. Been very successful. One of her biggest clients is Apple, so she's done really well. Yeah, that's an easy way to start a business. That's the first way you can get your feet wet and see if you like it.
Yeah, that's like the first one. The first step in any good business is validating if you have an offer or not. Multiple ways to get there, but at the end of the day, you still have to validate if your offer is good. And then the second step would be, acquiring your first few clients, getting those testimonials, getting the kind of momentum going. It can take time to get this momentum going, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of rejection along the way.
Yeah.
I talk to a wide variety of age ranges, and sometimes I've noticed. I don't know if it's because they're young and they don't have enough experience, or because maybe they aren't out and about, right? But I definitely noticed that the young, and anybody under like 30 really has a big fear of rejection. And, that's fair. I'm pretty sure I had a big fear of rejection when I was in my younger years as well. But rejection is not always as black and white as I think people make it to be. Um, for example, if somebody says, no, I don't want that service, to me, now as I grow older, it's, I don't want that service right now. But the fact that you're still talking to me and you haven't ghosted me is kind of like a good sign that you are still interested in a dialogue. So, having, uh, I think it's all building muscles at the end of the day. Like if you try and push or promote or talk about your service and it's going badly, or people aren't really responsive to it, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not your target audience at that time, right? Like they might just not be in the right stage of life at the moment. And following up with them consistently, they might not be the client, but they know people.
Right.
So, and it's just about, I think, saying hello or building connection. Like, for example, um, I see a lot of events happening in my community. And so what I've been doing is if I see a flyer that I really like, I'll send it to a core group of 15 or 18 types of 18 people. And for the last like 7 of those invites, I have gotten like no's from the same person. But after like the 8th or 9th time, I was like, hey, like, here's this thing. I don't know if you want to go, but it'd be great to see you. They're like, hey, I know I've said no this entire time, but please keep sending this to me. It's just, I'm away the weekend, they're
Mm-hmm.
happening or whatever. Like, I'm still interested. Don't take me not responding or me, like, just keep going, just keep sending it to me. And so I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Cause actually, I didn't know, like, when you have a flyer, you can like easily, on Instagram or on WhatsApp, you can easily forward it to like 8 different people or whatever. So I just send it out, not realizing that maybe person number 4 never even responded to the first 3 indicators, but they're reading it, you know what I mean? And
Right.
eventually they messaged me back saying like, hey, I'm so grateful that you still think of me, even though I like forget to message you back. And I'm like, yeah, like, unless you tell me like hard, like, please stop
Right. Yeah.
contacting me, or like if you block me outright and I don't see the little double ticks or whatever, like, I'm not going to take it personally, right? Until you like physically or like actually told me to like take you off the list, whatever equivalent of that is, I'm going to keep saying hi. I'm going to keep messaging. I'm not going to take it personally. I've left people on red before. Sometimes you read it and there's nothing to respond to. You know what I mean? So it's not like, it's not the end of the world if somebody you're trying to close a deal on doesn't necessarily get back to you in a timely manner, especially nowadays with so many different forms of communication. I've taken the silent treatment as not even ghosting. It's just like
Yeah.
there's too many touch points now that you get lost in the crowd and you just can't take it personally, especially when it comes to business.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, he's starting to date again, and he got a message from somebody at like 11 o'clock at night, and he was like, it's late. And it was a question of kind of like almost he had to like Google the question in order to properly answer it. It was a history kind of question. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. And he was like, I don't really want to do this right now. And so he like didn't respond. And then, you wake up, you're in a rush, you go to work, you're trying to get stuff going. And around like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, this man messages him. Sorry, the woman messages him on Instagram instead of WhatsApp or the forum, and was like, I didn't think you're the type of guy to ghost me. And he was like, I don't know how to answer this because I just what do I do? It was a big,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a big kind of like conflict. And so my friend was like, I don't want to ghost this person, but I don't think this is ghosting, but how do I tell them to chill out? Like,
No,
but
that's
as
true.
entrepreneurs, I think that's like such a great example. If somebody doesn't respond to you in 12 hours or whatever, in 7 business days or whatever, don't take it personally. Just keep going. You know, just keep reaching out,
Mhm.
keep sending flyers, keep doing whatever. And then eventually they'll come back and either block you or tell you they're not really, really not interested and stop being your friend, or tell you, hey, thank you so much for like, keep thinking about me and keep reigniting these sparks. So just another way of thinking about rejection. It's just touch
Yeah.
points at the end of the day.
I think as a solopreneur, and especially those of you watching are probably on Substack, and you may write on Substack. When you initially start doing this, it could be pretty discouraging that no one ever responds, right? No one comments, no one likes, and you start to think, well, maybe nobody's paying attention. I'm doing this and I'm putting it into the world, and no one cares. What is interesting, what I found, sometimes people are reading this stuff. Sometimes people have been reading my stuff for like 5 years. And then they will reach out and hire me. And they're like, I've been reading your newsletter and when you're on Medium for 5 years, and I really like it. And I'm too shy to say anything. I never commented, but I want to hire you. So it's like there could be a long lead time. So you have to learn, I think, to be patient and often to do this stuff, even if it's just for you, or to think maybe somebody out there's going to get help from this. So it's okay to share content, to share help, to write about things and not immediately get feedback because it may come back to you. It sometimes takes years. And you have to listen to people. When I first started this coaching business, my initial launch was trying to help people, immediately jump into solopreneurship. I really wanted to start doing that from the beginning. And what I kept hearing, I'd get on a call with somebody and they're like, I like it. I want to do it. I'm not ready yet. I need it. What I need now, need a new job. Can you help me get a new job? And I'm like, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but yeah, I can help you get a new job. And that became my career coaching business. So I didn't initially want to start a career coaching business. I was trying to start a solopreneur business. And it's taken, I'm 9 years in now, and it's only in the last year that people are comfortable enough to say, okay, now I'm ready. And some of these people have been my career coaching clients. I've helped them get jobs. I've coached them through difficult times with bosses. And now, 9 years later, they're like, okay, now I'm ready to start a business. So it's easing into the coaching business for small business owners. So you have to be patient. You have to keep doing it. You have to listen to people and hear what they're saying so that you give them what they need versus trying to force something that they don't need. And I think there can be a long tail of this stuff. I have another friend who's a career coach. She is now coaching 3 generations of people in a family. So her initial client is
Yeah.
the grandparent, and then the grandparent referred their child and helped their child get a job who's a grown up. And now the child's had them help their grandchild get a job. So they're coaching 3 generations of people over many years. And that's the nature of, I think, this business is when you do it and you build relationships, people refer you. I've had a husband refer me to his wife, and now I'm coaching both the husband and the wife, which is funny at the same time, but not in the same meetings, very different meetings.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, that's such the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is that you can choose your clients and you can do what you want to do, but also help the people that you want to help, right? Um, it's a beautiful thing that you can coach 3 generations, like you've built trust with that. And that's, I think, the pinnacle of building community. It doesn't have to be in your own backyard, but you are building community with these people where you've impacted them for generations to come just by your knowledge. I was listening to a forestry podcast, and it was it really like I still think about that podcast. I don't know if they're still producing, I would have to see, but basically it was a forester interviewing another forester talking about how he thinks about um his consulting business, right? He basically goes on to farms and or land. Sometimes it's just a lot. Sometimes there's trees already on it. But he goes on and he consults with the family on what types of trees you need to plant. This is kind of like the original job of what a forester does. And he was telling me about how he was talking to the grandfather basically. And he said that because of a forester's recommendation on the type of trees that he should have planted on his lot, the type of environment he needs to be considering of, yada yada yada, he has now like 80-year-old trees, or actually if he's so it must have been the grandfather, but his so it'd be the
Mm-hmm.
father, the great grandfather. So he has like 80-year-old trees on his property right now that is now feeding and providing college and tuition for his grandson, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the age range math I kind of busted up on, but the point is that the tree that he planted, that his great grandfather planted, what, in the 1800s, is now producing the fruits of the labor to this day. And it's like such a slow way of thinking about business that was so counterintuitive from the sort of the fast-paced Silicon Valley venture capital startup where it's like we want to put in a bunch of money and then sell it within 3 years,
Right. Yeah.
right? We want a turnaround within 3 years. But like here's entire generations that don't see like the fruits of the labor until 80 years later. And just imagine the kind of generational impact that type of business has just by planting the right tree, listening to the right advice, partnering with the right people in planting those trees. Because if you planted the wrong trees, in the 1800s, there's nothing really that's going to help you now save that investment. So it's just a beautiful way of thinking about how you get into entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to be so fast paced. We need to close the sale right now. If you get off the phone, we're going to lose the sale. Like in my line of work as a peak performance coach, where I help people identify which of the 4 kind of archetypes you are in business or in your productivity, kind of your productivity archetype. And only about, let's just say everybody's in equal boxes, right, of these 4. Only about 25% of those people are big, let's take the action right now, today, like right tomorrow. Yesterday was the day that I should have taken action. Those types of people
Yeah.
are only about 25%. And the other 75% are much more perhaps cautious. They weigh the pros and cons. They like to talk to their competitor, or your competitor. They like to think things over. They like to maybe perhaps drive consensus with their friends and family, whether this is a good investment. Like, so these things take time. And you're only really going to get like 25% of people, plus or minus, that will make the action or decision right then and there. Like, they see you, Larry, and they like you, and they're going to
Yes,
hire you
yeah,
tomorrow. Like,
yeah,
that's very rare. So, um, and of course, as people are busy on top of that. So it's a slow hire and slow. People are slower, I guess, to hiring you in your services than an entrepreneur might like.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's why I think it's so important that, much like I tell people with my career coaching, is like the best time to look for your new job is while you still have a job. It's like,
Yeah.
I wish people wouldn't rest. It's like you have a job, you're happy with it, and so they stop. They stop networking, they stop interviewing, they stop talking to people, and they just hope that's going to work out. And then a year later, they get laid off. And they're like, "Oh no, I have to start all over again." And
Yeah,
so
and
if
then
you
they
keep
don't
it
like make
going,
any they don't make any connections, so nobody
yeah,
knows. They can't reach out to their pre-existing network because they didn't make the effort. Like, if you have an employee or your coworker leaving to another company, why aren't you sending them, "Hey man, how's that new
yes,
company going?" Or, "Well, hey, I miss you. Like, we you had such a blast at my other company, like at this company. Like, what are you up to these days? Let's get a coffee. I haven't seen you." Like, so many people don't even bother to say goodbye to that employee.
right.
Like, I've left companies where I thought we were like BFFs, and then I get fired or I leave or whatever, and like they don't even say, "Hey, I missed you
Mhm.
at the morning
They're
meeting
like,
today." I was like, "How is this possible?"
yeah,
Um, I had somebody who I had helped get basically transition into a new career field. She was a friend of mine, so I was helping her out at the time. And then when she got the client that it was basically word of mouth. I told my client, we were a good relationship. "Hey, so and so is really good. I think, she would be perfect for your position, yada, yada, yada." They're like, "Okay, great." And they hire her basically within the week after this recommendation, which is beautiful. Um, didn't hear from her for 7 years after that, until she messaged me going, "Hey, I know this is such an awkward message, but I just got fired from da da da, and I'm looking for new
"Can you help me
clients.
again?"
And can you help me again?" And I was like, it was so jarring because I almost felt used. Like,
Yeah,
legitimately thought we were friends, and then the moment I couldn't help you anymore, or whatever that relationship was, you stopped talking to me. And like, I had messaged her, I had reached out, God ghosted, didn't. I was like, okay, well, if you can't even
yeah,
respond to how are you, um digital, so it's not like I could keep sending flyers of the community thing that we could maybe meet up at on Sunday, right? But if you can't even respond to me, like, just to catch up or get, some virtual coffee, all right, like, I get it. But then, 7 years later, I got this long message saying, "Hey, I know it's super awkward, but I'm just gonna go right into it. I need your help or like, if you know anybody who will blah blah blah." And I'm like, this is the worst message you could have possibly
oh,
sent me.
yeah, that's cold.
Li
That's cold.
like,
Ugh.
with the forestry example, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, you know?
Right.
It was planting the tree in the 1800s so that you can have it give fruits of your labor for 3 generations from
Yeah.
now, right? The same is true with relationships. Like, just plant the seed. If you liked somebody, if you think they were a hard worker, if you really like their work ethic or the way they thought, like, and they leave the company, just keep reaching out, go, "Hey, thought of you. How's it going, man?" And especially now, you don't even have to pick up the phone to do it. You could just
So
text
easy
the
now.
guy.
Yeah,
Or you
yeah,
can message, and you don't have to do it like every time, but just set a reminder on your phone for once a month. Go through your contact list and spin up the
yeah.
Rolodex, and which is also an antiquated term. I realized I said Rolodex
I
to
can't
like a
believe you
young
even know what a
20.
Rolodex is. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, my mom had one.
I used to have one.
Yeah. But I said Rolodex the other day to like a 25 something year old, and I was like, okay, let me just
They don't
crawl
know what
back
that
into my witch
is.
cave. I'm like, ooh. You
Oh,
know when you get to that age where you're like, oh yeah, you don't remember September 11? Like the other day I was at it's totally off topic, but I was like half of the group is over 30 and half of the group is under 30, and we were talking about like the most traumatic earthquake Costa Rica had ever experienced, and the look of these like young 20 something year olds in their eyes, it was like veterans telling war stories to these children, and I was like, oh, I've reached that age now, and they're not even that old. Like, I don't know, like what, an 8 years difference, but now it's
all it takes.
significant enough to not remember the great earthquake of 2009. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, no, it's true. It's true. Though, getting back to the keeping the wheels turning, I learned that with my design business that you should always be marketing, always be selling. And if you get overflow, you send overflow to referrals because you're building goodwill and they're going to send referrals to you. And so I learned kind of the hard way early that you never turn people away, you never block, you never stop. You keep it coming and you're like, okay, I'm too busy, but I can refer you to somebody I really trust that can help you with this. The same thing is true for your solopreneur business is like you should always be marketing, selling, communicating, networking, and find ways to help people as much as you can. Find ways to scale your business. We talked about phase three, but there are ways to scale your business that don't require as much time and effort. So, like group coaching is a good example. Digital products, great example. Substack is a great example. I can help unlimited numbers of people. Like I wrote my article, The First 90 Days in Your Job, like how to really crush it week by week by week with a bunch of checkbox activities. One of my most popular articles, millions of people use it, and I don't have to do a single thing to help them, right? I just wrote it. Here it is. Use it. I update it every once in a while. But now I can help a whole bunch of people that I couldn't help one on one. So, as a solopreneur, you cannot afford to stop marketing, stop using Substack and writing and podcasting and live streaming. Just always do it and make it fun. Find somebody like Anna that you can talk with and just have a conversation. And it doesn't feel like work and it doesn't feel like a pain. It's just fun. We just get together and chat on the podcast.
yeah. So one of the things that I hear from people whenever I tell them, like, hey, you need to be more social, whatever, you need to connect with more people, is the big thing they say to me is, oh, I'm an introvert, or I'm really shy, or I'm just not as charismatic as you. I'm not, um, and I'm like, again, it's a muscle, okay? Like, I keep telling people that I'm an introvert, and
I am too.
believes nobody
Yeah.
believes me now because I've built up the muscle where I'm like, okay, if I get out of the house, if I put on my shoes, we're gonna be Mrs. Sparkly Toes today and talk to a bunch of people, right?
I say that sometimes too. I'm like, today I'm Miss Sparkly Toes, and I'm in a erotic conversation.
I got my tiara on. I'm gonna beat some
Yeah,
names down, and we're gonna talk to people.
I need to get a
And so,
tiara. Darn it.
yeah, I don't have one. Just the books, but so people feel like, oh, I'm very antisocial and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, like especially now with the internet and social media, it's so easy not to even leave your house. I remember a time where, and you would too, Larry, where if I didn't have any food in the fridge, I'd have to put on pants, go take the bus to the supermarket, and buy myself food. And if I didn't want to do all of that, I had to bring myself to a restaurant and eat alone at a restaurant. Okay. Now with
Like a
Uber
feral
Eats,
creature.
yeah, like a feral creature. And it was so weird because I did this on like on a Saturday at like 1 o'clock or something. I went and took myself and to eat a pizza at a nice fancy restaurant. And this waiter was like, "Why are you sitting alone?" He said that to me. I was like, because I like food. Like, what if I? He, but he was like so flabbergasted. There was this like random woman solo eating a pizza like at a fancy restaurant by myself. I'm like, this is such a weird question. Like, I paying for food, but so it's even my little rant there, my little old lady rant there was basically saying that like, you had to interact with people even at, like, when you wanted to buy food or when you wanted to eat something, right? Now I can just sit in my bed and order Uber Eats. And like the worst case I don't even have to talk to the delivery driver. I just tell him to like leave the food at the door. It's like so impersonal. So no wonder so many people are and like say they're antisocial. It's because when was the last time you actually had to interact with like a new human being? Like since I work from home and I don't really need to have a car. So I just take Ubers everywhere when I have to get into the city, which is like, I don't know, once a week, twice a week. And it's relatively cheaper than actually owning a car and driving in third world madness, in my opinion, and staying in traffic. But one of my things is like I'll sit there and talk to the Uber driver, and it's sometimes really great conversations. Sometimes it's a little boring and nobody talks about anything. But it works your little muscles, right? Where it's like you leave the house and you just want to get and work those muscles. So I don't like the excuse that, oh, I'm not confident, or oh, I'm very shy, or I'm an introvert. You can build these skills and still be an introvert. And especially if you are an entrepreneur or solopreneur, you can't use I'm not confident as a reason why you're not making any money. Like I don't know, man, like we have to develop skills at some point. And these are unfortunately, some of the skills, people skills are a critical part to growing your business. And the way I see it is that why did you get into business? Was it to help people? Was it to improve the lives of others? For a lot of solopreneurs, that's the one of the reasons. Maybe the bigger reason was I had hated my boss and I didn't want to be controlled by my time. And I wanted to spend more time with my family, which is like another like secondary reason or the primary reason, whatever the reason is. But usually it's because I didn't like X way and I want to do this way because I think it's a better way. Well, the better way involves you having to do and learn new skills. And yes, it's uncomfortable at the beginning. I was super awkward. I mean, super
Did you
social.
say
I was
was?
was. Hey,
Did you
Larry.
say was?
Hey, Larry. I mean, I'm still super awkward. Like, imagine trying to do all this like in a second language, like in Spanish. So it's like even worse because I've made so many like grammatical mistakes, and sometimes you just have to roll with it because it's like, you know what? I said the wrong thing. It's not my first language. Like, let's just learn how to overcome this, right? Um, but it is difficult learning some of these skill sets. So just take it day by day. You don't have to like be Mrs. Butterfly or Twinkle Toes overnight. Just like make an effort to connect with one person a day or a week or whatever your social battery allow. Um, because it's all about community, connecting with people, bringing and solving the problems that they have, right? So a good entrepreneur solves problems. And typically you don't get to that point unless you understand the problem of the person you're talking to. So, being an introvert or I think even introverts are actually better salesmen in the long run because they spend more time like listening and less time like trying to push some sort of agenda or product that the customer doesn't even like. So use your introversion as a skill set. Just schedule in rest time, then and just build those muscles. You got to build it. It's painful in the beginning. If you go to the gym for the first day, it hurts. Everything sucks. And then by day 35, it feels a little easier. You start seeing a little bit of muscle definition. You kind of get like a little boost in your ego because you're seeing the results of your thing. And then by, I don't know, 1,000 days in, you don't even think about it anymore. It's the same as just eating and breathing, right? So you just got to think about the long game, right? Just a little bit every single day will get you to where you're going. Whatever the objection, excuse, whatever
Yeah.
you think you might have. Because introversion was a big one that I get from people like, oh, I'm just socially awkward. I don't want to like talk to people. I get anxiety when I pick up the phone or whatever. It could be, oh, I don't think I'm experienced enough, or it could be, I don't think I'm qualified enough, or whatever your objection is. It's like, okay, well, if you don't think that's what you are, what are the steps you need to take in order to get there, right? Let's break it down. Let's think a little strategically on whatever insecurity you have. Everybody has some kind of insecurity. Um, and just, break it down, put it on paper, and then tackle it from there. That's the best way to overcome any sort of internal, I think, insecurities that you might have. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're working with your own self, your own biases, your own problems. So you also have to overcome that as well. You have to evolve as your business evolves, not just from a marketing standpoint.
Yeah. And I think, I am introverted, and I don't think people believe it either, but I'm very introverted. You got to find what works for you. And what I found surprisingly is that broadcasting was a lot easier than kind of being in a large group and having all the cocktail conversation kind of stuff. So I,
Yep.
I like writing and broadcasting. It's a one-way kind of thing. This is more like broadcasting. People can interact in the chat and stuff like that. So feel free. But I find that a little bit easier and kind of works for me as an introvert. I also found I don't like the large group settings. So I used to go to these networking events and there's like
Yeah.
hundreds of people in a circle of 10 people here and 15 people here. And there's always an extrovert dominating the conversation and telling jokes, and I never could squeeze in. I'm good with one-on-one, one-on-two kind of stuff, conversations. I set up calls. I have a free discovery call for all my businesses where people can book time and we just talk, and I just try to help them. So that's the key thing. And people also say, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Ann, it's like, I don't like sales. I don't like pushing people. I don't like doing that. I don't. I don't sell to people in my calls. I tried that initially. I hated it. That whole, well, if you sign up today, you'll save 25%. I stopped doing all that. I literally just have a conversation like we're two friends. It's for a half hour. It's free. And they tell me what they're dealing with. We talk about it. I try to help them. I give them advice, and that's it. And what often happens, I would say 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they ask me, how can I keep working with you? So they make the sale for me. They ask me, how can you keep helping me? What do you charge? How can I work with you? I don't have to force anything. And so as an introvert, it's beautiful. I'm meeting people from all over the world. It's fun. We're just having a conversation. I like helping people, so I like just talking about their issues and problems. And I don't have to do a hardcore sales pitch. I don't have to fight for attention with a bunch of extroverts in the room. That's
Yep.
it. I've had thousands of these calls, and I've met people from all over the world. Anna and I met in a marketing community, so it's a good way to grow your network. Is there something you probably want to learn? I was in a marketing community. It was a marketing course. Ann and I had a coffee chat, and we kind of hit it off and became friends. And we've been talking now for it's been over 10 years, because this is when I had my startup. That's when I joined. So it's probably been 14, 15 years. It's been a
Oh,
long time.
really?
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
I started doing
Yeah.
it with VoiceKick, with my voice startup. And that was
But
a
but
long
that
time.
and Voice Kick, I don't remember you doing. I think Voice Kick had just closed, or you had been recovering. It was like a year or two after that, I think.
Oh, after my depression. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it was after your depression. But I do remember you talking about it, but it was still fresh, but not depression.
Yeah, still stings a little bit. Now it's just nostalgia. Yeah.
Oh,
That's,
this thought. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Oh,
got to fail to
sorry.
win, man. Here I'm going to do a bro talk. You got to fail to win. No, this is the funny thing, and it's true. Somebody said this. I can't remember who it was. Somebody, Willem Dafoe, I think. I think Willem Dafoe said it. He said, try to make the worst thing you can. Try to play the worst song you can on the guitar. Try to make the worst painting you can. Try to make the worst poem you can. Write, whatever. He said, just try to fail and take
Hmm.
away the mystique. Get rid of the mysterious feeling of failure. And the more you do it, and surprisingly, the more you do it, the better your stuff gets. The less failure bothers you. You're like, whatever. It's like I failed hundreds and hundreds of times. I don't care. I just say, okay, that didn't work. Next thing, I learned from it. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try something different. But if you build up
Yeah.
this whole thing like, oh, I got to get it perfect. I can't stand failure. I'm going to spend 10 years trying to build the perfect thing or write the perfect song or whatever. You'll never do it. It's like, do micro failures all the time. Force yourself to have
Yeah.
failures. Like, intentionally fail. Succeed at failing. It's like, that's a secret.
Yeah. Daniel Pink, who's an author, he wrote "To Sell Is to is Human." I had to look him up real quick. He wrote something that said I'm crediting him because he was the one that wrote the post or whatever. But basically, there was a study that was done where they asked like 100 participants to create this perfect pottery plant
Mhm.
or pottery clay item, and they asked 100 people to create the perfect one, and then they asked 100 people to just create as many as possible, as quickly as possible. And eventually, um, they realized that, like, the people that were creating the perfect thing, they were, like, agonizing and starting over and redoing it and agonizing it, and, like,
Yeah.
by the end, they didn't even have, like, one perfect thing. Whereas the other people, by the 10th time of trying to do their stupid little pot or
Yeah.
whatever it was, like, they just kept going and going and going and going that they eventually had, like, 5 perfect pots, right, within that allocated time. So it's like, it's not time, it's quantity. You just have to put in the reps. Enough
Yeah.
reps will get you to where you're going. You have to stumble, you might look stupid, you might look, weird in front of your family members. Because that's another thing that people have said to me, like, "Oh, I don't wanna post that on, like, my main Instagram or my main Facebook page because what will Aunt Jerry think or Aunt Cheryl think or whatever, Uncle Jerry would think." Um, I'm like, "Who cares? This is your business, like, aren't you proud to show, like, that stuff?" Or, like, "Hey, I don't wanna post on social media because I'm super awkward on camera." And I'm like, "Well, just create a YouTube channel that nobody knows about or whatever and just
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
and see what happens. Create an Instagram that nobody knows about and just post." Um, like, because nobody's paying attention now, like, so you might as
There's
well
so
put in the
much.
reps.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
do
might
it.
as well put
You
in the reps and see
wish
what
people
happens.
were paying attention. They're not. They're not paying
Yeah,
attention.
they won't pay attention for years, so
It's kind of a freedom. It's a real
yeah,
freedom where hardly anybody's noticing because there's so much noise. It's like, this
yeah,
is the time to get up and do your stand-up comedy is when no one's paying attention and get good at it. Um, and the thing is, like, I've started doing a lot of faceless videos, which I just do a hike and the camera's on the forest, not me, and I talk, and I just talk over the video. Pretty easy. If you feel awkward on camera and you don't wanna be on camera, I don't like being on camera, I hate it. So it's like, just record something, go for a walk in your neighborhood and talk about whatever it is you wanna talk about, or create a video of something if you're good at art or illustration, or you wanna put a bunch of your photography together and talk over it. You don't have to be on camera, you don't have to. You can do all kinds of stuff, you could do podcasts where it's just your voice. There's a lot of options now, so find what works for you, find what you're comfortable with, but just do it. Do a little something every
yeah.
day. Every day do
I
something.
I remember I was taking a course, from this woman who was talking about, I guess, publicity slash, like, how to put your name in or, like, how to write for articles for, like, Forbes and stuff, something along those
Yeah,
lines. And, she had a couple of 100 people in there, like, she was pretty famous, but her entire webinar didn't even have her face on there at all. She just had the thing, and then she showed people how to
yeah,
do it, and later on, I think, like, a year or 2 later, she, like, came out and was like, "Yeah, I was so nervous doing those webinars and, courses because, like, I really just didn't think I was good on camera at all." Like, I I was even nervous to even talk on that whole thing. Um so it's just kind of fascinating that, like, look, that person was scared doing this thing when she had quite a bit of people on there. I wanna say, like, over 100, and she still did it anyway. She did it in the comfort zone that allocated her to do it. And she still, did great stuff with her business. So just because somebody is doing it one way doesn't mean you can't find your own path to do it your own way.
yes.
Um,
Have you guys
with
heard of the
that being
Doors?
said
Have you
You
heard the
do need
Doors?
to be realistic.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if you've
Wide the door.
sure you've heard the Doors. Jim Morrison, when he first started
Yeah.
singing on stage, would turn his back to the audience. He was so nervous and
Oh,
so
yeah.
scared that he turned his back to the audience when he was singing. And
And
look at the
isn't he,
success.
like, one of the most charismatic guys
Oh,
now?
people loved
Well,
him.
not
Yeah,
now, but
yeah, yeah. You don't want to end up like he did, but he was shy. I
no.
mean, there's ways to work around it. So anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So, we're up
yeah,
an hour mark.
we put
Um,
an hour in. Yeah. Well,
was this
thanks, Anna.
recorded the whole time?
It is. Yeah. So this will be
Oh,
recorded.
dear.
If folks want to go back and watch it, we'll have the video. It's going to generate it for us, and so we'll have a video that we can share on our Substacks later, and you can go
Amazing.
through and scrub, look at the transcript, and yeah,
Yeah, sorry about the audio, hiccups in the beginning. This is our first live, but I'm so excited for everybody to be on here. Thanks, guys, for showing up and, listening to us to talk. If anybody has a question, we're more than happy to answer it, before we go.
yeah, and you can contact us. We're very approachable. We're not scary, so you can send us a message, leave a comment on anything we post. We'll do our best to answer your questions, and we're always available. I have the free discovery call. Anna does too. If you go to larrycornett.coach, I have my 3 different business lines, and you can learn more and figure it out. And Anna's got her own website as well. She's on LinkedIn. She's on Substack. It's easy to find us.
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn or Substack at the moment. I'm rebranding the website, so bear with me while I figure that out. But yeah, Anna Kudina on LinkedIn or Anna Kudina on Substack, and more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Until next time, I wish you the best of luck with building the business of your dreams.